To inspect and maintain the brake system on your FTR 1200, follow these steps. Position the motorcycle fully upright on level ground with the handlebars pointed straight ahead. Check the fluid level through the sight glass with a flashlight. The fluid level should be above the minimum indicator mark on the sight glass. Before adding fluid, wipe the area with a clean cloth. Then remove the two cover fasteners. Remove the cover and diaphragm. Do not allow brake fluid to contact painted surfaces or paint damage may occur. Add fluid as needed. Do not overfill. Reinstall the diaphragm, cover, and fasteners. Torque the fasteners to specification. Clean any residual fluid off the vehicle to prevent paint damage. Next, lubricate the pivot pin and brake lever hinge point. Begin by removing the bottom nut. Then push up to remove the pivot pin. Do not remove the brake lever from the bike. Clean any old grease or dirt from the pivot pin and hinge points. Lubricate the pivot pin and hinge points with all-purpose grease. Then reinstall the pivot pin and torque until fully seated. Reinstall the bottom nut and torque to specification. Clean any residual grease off the bike and ensure proper operation of the brake lever. Next, inspect the banjo bolts on the front brake master cylinder for leaks. Inspect the brake line leaving the brake reservoir and running under the fuel tank. Continue by inspecting the line running from under the fuel tank to the front junction block. Next, inspect the connections at the front junction block and follow the brake lines to both front brake calipers, looking for any leaks, kinks, or damage. Then inspect the connections at the front brake calipers for leaks. Next, inspect the brake pad friction material. Replace when the thinnest point of the friction material has worn to the service limit indicator groove. Then inspect the front brake rotor for wear or damage and measure the thickness at 4 or more locations. Replace any rotor that is damaged or worn to the minimum thickness at any point. Clean the rotor as recommended in your owner's manual to resolve minor squeaks from dirt or dust. Also inspect the front ABS tone ring for damaged teeth and the wheel speed sensor for excessive debris. Next, move to the rear fluid reservoir near the rear brake pedal on the right side of the bike. Ensuring the bike is still level, check the fluid level with a flashlight. The fluid level should be above the minimum indicator mark on the reservoir body. Before adding fluid, wipe the area with a clean cloth. Then remove the cover and diaphragm. Add fluid as needed. Do not overfill. Do not allow brake fluid to contact painted surfaces or paint damage may occur. Reinstall the cover and clean any residual fluid off the vehicle to prevent paint damage. Next, inspect for leaks on the banjo bolts at the rear master cylinder. Continue by following the rear brake lines leaving the master cylinder looking for any leaks, kinks, or damage. Continue following the brake lines leaving the center of the bike and heading towards the rear calipers. Also ensure the brake line retainers are properly secured. Next, inspect the banjo bolts for leaks at the rear caliper. Then inspect the rear brake pad and rotor and replace if worn to their minimum thickness. Also inspect the rear ABS tone ring and wheel sensor. If inspection reveals any need for service or replacement, see your authorized Indian motorcycle dealer. For more information, see your authorized Indian motorcycle dealer or visit indianmotorcycle.com.